Jain, everyone. Welcome to Worldwide Jain Virtual Classroom. This is session 19, I believe, right, Ketan? 19? Yeah, 19 of stress management from Jain perspective. Uh, so, so far, we have learned what stress is, what are the causes of stress, and then what are the consequences of stress. Now we are into the management of stress. And we have up until now, last time, what we covered was what are the common perceptions about management of stress? What do people think? What are the different things people try out? Now, whether that has really any consequences or that can really work to mitigate the stress or not. That's what we looked at last time. With that, let me share my screen and start. What were the common things we looked at? Some of the common perceptions we went through last time. Nishit, can you recall some of them?
Just stuff like meditation, yoga, laughter, therapy, things like that. I'm not sure if we specifically discussed laughter, actually.
We didn't really do that. But don't you think that I mean, it may come as a shock to someone, right? Because all our lives, we have been told from society that these things can work, mitigate your stress. And here, when we really come to analyze it, it really is quite opposite of what we have learned from our parents, sometimes from our
I,
society, from our teachers.
I think it stems from the fact that uh, society hasn't been able to define stress, so they don't have good measures to counter it.
Yes. So they just go by their common perceptions. I mean, in the absence of right definition, everyone struggles to basically find the remedies. So think about it. When you don't know the right definition, you cannot even define it, so you cannot even come up with the root causes for it. When you cannot even come up for root causes, all you're going to come up with is just band-aid fixes here and there, and stuff that will not work from root cause. It's similar to medicine, right? Ethan? If disease is not understood from the root cause, then how can we find a cure to eradicate it?
Absolutely. You
So
have to
now
look.
next we covered, I think, up until astrology, numerology, and palmistry, and we realized that all of these, none of these can really take away our stress. At the best, yoga and pranayama and physical exercises mask your stress, or visualization meditations. If the attention turns temporarily to somewhere else, stress is masked out. It's not really going anywhere. It's going to be there. Next, we're going to check is, can earning lots of money reduce stress? A lot of people spend day and night, every single moment of their life, thinking about business, about earning money. They think that it's going to help them live a good life in later stages of their life or whenever. Now, does earning lots of money reduce stress? What do you think?
Absolutely not. Probably creates more stress.
Yeah, but why it creates more stress though? I mean, it doesn't reduce stress, right? Why it doesn't reduce stress? I mean, you can buy all the things you like. You can earn the health. You can get all the types of healthcare you want. You can get all the pleasures you want. Then why would stress won't go away?
Mostly because they're unrelated. One substance has nothing to do with the other substance.
Yes.
Accumulation of materialism, which is what you're doing when you earn lots of money. The intent is to spend it or
Mhm.
to have this thought that it's providing you some sort of security, and in reality, it does neither. And that disassociation between anything that's material and what the true soul is, is the reason why that it doesn't help relieve stress.
Yeah. First of all, if you think about it, you're very right. First of all, if you think about it, the association that money can take away your stress, or money will give you peace or pleasure, that association itself is faulty, because when you do that, there is a tremendous dependence upon that money. Now that dependence creates unidentified fear. Then, what if someone takes away my money? What if someone steals my money? What if I my this money would go away? What if the if I have stocks uh, that is worth million? What if the stock would devalue and become like worthless? All these great fears, they may not necessarily be identified by an individual at that point in time. They're there because there is that dependence on the money. Second thing is about basically what to do with that money. So you will think of all sorts of things, and the desires that were contained within now starts going up. Hey, so now when I didn't have money, probably I was okay with a simple bed with fine. Now I have a lot of money, so I can think, hey, now I want that bed with $10,000. And in the end, it's not about how much, even if we talk about worldly money related happiness, it's not the amount of money that can bring you that peace and security. It's more about the difference between your earning or your money that you possess versus how much desire you have. So it's a ratio of that really is. So a lot of times we see celebrities, right? A lot of these celebrities earn millions and millions of dollars sometimes, and still in their retirement time, or sometimes in their midlife, they find themselves in midlife crisis. Either they lost all their money, or they end up taking drugs, or they end up in some other crime, or something else, where they just lose all their money. Because what happens is, when you have more money, then the desires also go up. So the net between your earnings and your desires and spending is always what brings you that worldly peace or stability, if you so called from money. It's not just the money, it's the basically net. It's kind of like earning versus spending. If I'm earning one lakh dollar a month, or $100,000 a month, and my cost or my spending, my bills are $90,000 a month, I'm only saving $10,000. But if I only have desire for only $10,000 a month, and I'm saving all that money, so that's the difference. A similar thing here. It's not what you earn, it's what you have available today, and how much you really want, what's your desire level. That's what basically determines how much stress you have. But desire itself brings stress, whether it's about spending money, whether it's about earning money, or it's about enjoying some pleasure, or getting vacation out there. And all these, we have learned this, that all these different modes of emotions are one or other type of stress. Whether we believe it or not, they are stress. So earning money, lots of money cannot really reduce stress. What about attaining good education? Can that reduce stress?
You see educated people with stress. That answers the question, right?
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, we see educated people with stress all the time. Right? Now, I'll tell you, I don't know if I've mentioned this, but I know the story of one scientist actually. Was a very accomplished scientist, did research for many, many years. And I think something went wrong with their research partner, whether he stole all his research work, or took all the credit for his research work, and something like that. And he got into tremendous depression. And then at the end, I mean, at the end of the life, he was in really bad shape. I mean, he could never just recover from it. Basically. I mean, he was such an accomplished person, right? And you think about it, PhD, has done so much research, so much accomplishment in his field, well known, and still. So why this happens? I mean, education is supposed to bring some peace and stability. So what kind of education can bring that peace and stability is not worldly education that can bring the peace and stability. It's about education about stress itself, what stress is and what the factors are, which is what Jainism is, right? Jainism is full of all these modes of stress, its causes of stress, its remedies, its permanent strategies to remove stress, lifestyle management to eradicate stress. All that Jainism represents. So Jain knowledge of Jainism, Jain way of life, Jain philosophy, Jain fundamentals will be extremely useful in reducing that stress. Now, a lot of people also we observe within Jain community keep fast or do a lot of physical penance, especially Varshita. You know, we heard of Varshita. A lot of people do Varshita. For 1 year, they fast every other day or something like that. And then some people do a lot of intense fasting during the time of pollution. But then they do not undertake any effort. Doing penance is a good thing, probably. I mean, you know, refraining from excessive food desire probably is a good thing. But then they don't take any effort to learn the fundamentals, and they don't make any other efforts to get to the root or ask themselves question for why they're doing it, what they're doing it, what are they trying to achieve. So it just becomes just a physical ritual. It's a physical process. And as we have learned, the physical process has nothing to do with the stress. And so keeping fast and just simple physical penance without any understanding with related to kashayas and passions and not really reduce the stress. Now, here's the most important one. Can laughter reduce stress? Can laughter reduce stress?
And according to Jainism, that's a form of stress.
It's a form of stress. That would be very, very shocking to the rest of the world, right? That laughter, you guys are crazy. You're calling laughter a stress? How come laughter is a stress? It's very, very difficult to accept this fact, actually. But indeed, laughter, although we seem to, okay, so we have made this clear before. Compared to other form of stress like anger or sadness or depression, probably we enjoy laughter because it's a less intense form of passion. It's not really as intense. Passions are not intense and they are for different kind.
And it's
So
it's positive at the same time.
it depends on what matter you are laughing, right? Like for example, if someone's making fun of someone and laughing about some matter, it could be laughter with ego too. Like someone is making fun of poor people. Hey, this guy doesn't have it, ha 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 ha. You know, that type of laughter is combined with that ego and our superiority complex. That's probably a negative type of laughter, right? So even laughter has a positive and negative laughter. But regardless, laughter, the reason why laughter is stress is because it's a temporary form of passion. It's a mode that will not sustain, and the mode that cannot bring you the everlasting peace. So I mean, say even if you laugh, how long can you laugh? At one point, we all come to realization that yeah, my stomach is hurting. I need to stop laughing. And you know, sometimes if we cannot stop laughing, you know, our stomach starts hurting, right? We cannot even really go on laughing continuously. That shows like if something was really a permanent solution that was giving us peace, then we would like to stay there, right? We would like to stay involved in it. The fact that we keep changing our attention from one object to another object, from one mode of kashaya to another mode of kashaya or feeling, that just shows that we are not really finding that what we are looking for there. If we were to be finding what we are looking for it, why would we come out of it? So that laughter is not that permanent mode of peace or stability that any Jeev or living being is looking for. So that's why laughter is in fact a form of stress, will not reduce stress. Now, assuming, I mean, one thing is very clear that yeah, it's laughter is better form of kashaya than anger or some of the intense ego or stuff like that. I mean, is not as it's that's why it's one of the no kashayas. It's not the one of the main kashayas. It's no kashaya. But so I mean, in their daily day life, I mean, we don't consider laughter as anything bad. But it's just the point worth understanding that laughter will, in fact, again mask your stress. Temporarily, your attention may turn away from your stressful feeling, and you may not feel like you have stress. But laughter is really not really taking away your stress. It can be masking the stress, just like other forms we talked about. So this laughter clubs and laughter therapy, all these things, they can only mask stress. They cannot take away stress. That it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of people also think if they do community service or they live compassionate life, that will reduce their stress. Can community service or compassionate life reduce stress?
One of the most difficult concepts I had in understanding when I was first starting to learn Jain principles was that punya bhav is not necessarily the end goal.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of Western thinking, especially, is that you want to reach heaven, and that punya bhav helps you reach quote unquote heaven.
Heaven, yeah.
But our reality and the understanding is that we don't really want heaven or hell. That we want moksha, and helping understand that has really provided great clarity of thought in my thought process. So, short answer is no,
Yeah.
but punya bhav is not necessarily the end all that people sometimes want to make it to be.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, answer is no. That community service or compassionate lifestyle, although it's it is worth practicing because like at this, let's make it one thing clear. I mean, what we are talking about here is whether it has any relation to reducing stress or not. The answer is no. We are not necessarily saying whether you should not do that or you should do that, right? I mean, obviously, doing community service is a good thing. Then going to the mall and just keep spending all your time in materialism and self-centered pleasures. So yeah, definitely in that sense, in containing the passions, containing the kashayas, and therefore containing the stress. That in that form it is better. Even compassionate lifestyle, right? Rather than having a thought of killing someone or enjoying the hunting, just practicing compassionate lifestyle is much better alternative, where you are at least containing your stress or containing your violent behaviors, and therefore containing your stress. But it does not really take away your stress. It can contain it. So why it doesn't take away? Because when we do community service, if we do it with understanding that whatever I am doing to someone is it can really benefit someone ultimately, means whenever I'm donating money, that money will bring peace or happiness to someone. We are talking about ultimate peace or happiness to someone. And the moment we say that, we associate that dependence with external objects to ourselves, about our peace. Because although we are thinking about others, the concept sets into our mind that this external things can bring peace or pleasure. And when that belief sets in, the kashaya as the dependence, the association, the attachment sets in, whether we realize it or not. And now, although we have this thought process for other people, and subconsciously applies to ourselves, we independently also become very dependent on it. So right way to do community service would be to basically understand that okay, yeah, this is just a temporary money or whatever donation can bring temporary worldly stability. It's not really, it has no relation to my ultimate peace or stability or ultimately it's also not having that. It's not also a stress cause of stress either. It's just temporarily I have my weakness that I'm so much attached to this external objects. So acquiring them, it makes me feel like I'm a little bit relieved. So when we do that with that right understanding and coupled with the fact that doing community service is better than going to the mall and engaging in the materialistic activities because of less passions or less intense passions. When you think about all these factors, when you do community service with the right perspective, that certainly helps contain kachayas, and it's better life alternative than other things in life. Same thing applies for compassionate lifestyle. Actually, so answer is they will not reduce stress, but they will basically help us contain the kashayas. So it looks like Saurabh is here. Saurabh, you there? Saurabh, Saurabh, are you there? Saurabh, are you there? Okay, all right. Then okay. So next is any questions on this point about community service and compassion? This is one of the biggest fallacy in modern day, even within the Jainism. Okay, many factions of Jainism think that doing community service or practicing compassionate lifestyle will ultimately
Hello.
reduce their stress or lead them to
Moksha.
liberate moksha.
Yeah.
And that is complete fallacy. It just cannot happen.
Hello.
हाँ सौरभ जी,
हम्म
Jai
तो सौरभ जी
Jinendra
आप
sir ji.
आप कुछ कहना चाहेंगे
जी
ये पॉइंट पे? हमने ये डिस्कस किया अभी कि कैन कम्युनिटी सर्विस और प्रैक्टिसिंग कंपैशनेट लाइफस्टाइल रिड्यूस स्ट्रेस और नॉट. हमने डिस्कस किया कि इट कैन हेल्प यू कंटेन द kashayas, therefore help you contain stress, because then you're not just focusing on your in just your yourself. You're at least have a vow of reducing kashaya, but it does not take away stress because your fundamental dependence upon external objects remain there.
yeah, community service can divert your opio only, but it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't mean that that will reduce your kasayas.
Kashaya, that's correct.
Yeah, it can divert your opio only.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
For example, someone say that when he at the time of drinking he forgets each and everything. It means he diverts his kasai. He diverts his opio. He's
Mm-hmm.
diverting his opio in drinking, in just a meeting or in just a club, etc. Like community service cannot provide you a complete rest, but it is only the diversion of your opio. In that stage you feel that I'm comfortable, but when you stop that community service, instantly you are in that stress stage. Okay, Brady.
Yeah. And even we have noticed that earlier, right? That anytime there are so many forms of this kashayas or passions, and some of them person may enjoy it because he thinks that they're benefiting him. But just because he thinks that doesn't really mean that they are benefit to him in reality. It's not the reality. So just like this, person who may have passion for community service may enjoy it, and it's fine. Nothing wrong doing in community service, but one should do it with the right perspective and with the fact in mind that even passion of community service itself is a form of stress, form of positive stress, you can say. It's a form of positive stress, but it's a stress at the end of the day, and it's not going to bring for us or to the other person. It's not going to bring that ultimate everlasting solution for stress. So ultimately, yes, up until the point where we cannot give up the more harmful activities, more negative type of stress, it is okay to remain in the positive stress, but with the understanding that that's also worth giving up. Because otherwise, it's kind of like if I have a cold and a flu and if I'm taking a medicine, I am taking a medicine with the understanding that yes, this medicine I want to give it up. I want to get permanently, completely well so that I don't have to take any medicine. If I end up in the mindset that yeah, only when I take this medicine I will feel better and I want to continue taking this medicine, then I will never become completely well. I will never become completely independent. So that's the concept applies here, that if we want to find a permanent solution, that cannot come with a community service or compassionate lifestyle. Although it may be necessary at some point to do that. Now, next is, can fulfilling worldly enjoyments and desires reduce stress? I mean, this is from the experience, right? A lot of times we feel that, oh, I have intense desire for something, and we are feeling so much anxiety about that thing, and then only after when we finish doing that, that urge goes away. So then, we definitely feel like, right, that if I fulfill the worldly enjoyment or my desire, then that will reduce my stress.
It happens over and over again. When you buy something, you get excited about it, and then it gets old.
So let me tell you what really happens actually. Mokshmar Prakashak has mentioned it very, very clearly. When you fulfill your worldly enjoyments or desires, and then you experience the stress goes away. In fact, stress hasn't, even the temporary relief hasn't really come because of that enjoyment or fulfillment of the desire. That temporary relief that we feel also comes because the desire goes away temporarily. When that thing happens, whenever we fulfill the enjoyment, the desire to do that goes away temporarily, and that's why we feel the relief. We just think that it occurred because of the worldly enjoyment, the external activity, but it is not so. A lot of times we find ourselves that when we fulfill one desire, 10 more desires occur. And when that happens, you basically instantly find yourself in more and more stress. So, really, fulfilling worldly enjoyments and desires really cannot reduce stress. What do you have to say on that? You agree or not? Saurabh ji, Saurabh ji,
Yes.
what should we do? Should we not really enjoy our worldly life and fulfill our desires? I mean, that's a question. I mean, can come to our mind, right?
No, no. Do you know worldly life? It means uh, right now in this worldly life we are having kasayas. So
Mm-hmm.
definitely those kasayas what we are having will be fulfilled automatically. For example, we are living in domestic life, so it is a kasai to live in domestic life. We are having kasai to eating food. We are having kasai to just take care of our body. We are having kasai to live in with family, friends, and society. These kind of things which are very common, but it doesn't mean that you can fully control yourself on these each and everything. It is very very natural process. Even our great people like Tirthankaras, Chakravarti, they used to live in domestic life with full honesty, but they knew the aim, they knew the goal, they knew the real thing, which is soul. So we cannot say that you must not enjoy your domestic life, but it must be in limit. Ahimsak, sadachari jivan, etc. must be in your life. Okay, parents.
Yeah. Any questions? Anyone have any questions? Okay. All right. So now we have covered actually most common perceptions on stress management. I mean, there can be many more. The list can go on and on, but these are the most common perceptions on stress management. Can you think of anything else? Can you think of anything else? Anything else that you like to talk about before we really go into the Jain strategy on stress management? I'll be right back. Okay, so all your questions are answered so far. I mean, pretty much. Can you think of anything else you have to like to cover? Okay. So if there are no questions, then we can go into this Jain strategy for stress management. this is actually a Jain strategy of stress management actually. So suppose Jainism starts from a very basic level, right? And it covers all the different spectrums that people can be in. We may find ourselves in. It starts from state of uncontained extreme stress. Anyone remember what state of uncontained extreme stress was, as per what we defined earlier? Nishan, do you remember what is uncontained
Was it
extreme?
the seven? I think when you're involved in one of the seven Mahapaps.
Yeah, seven vyasans, yeah, addictions,
Reasons,
seven great
rather.
addictions and
Yes.
five mahapap. So that in that form, a person is inevitably going through those activities along with wrong understanding about himself and intense passions. That state is state of uncontained extreme stress. Now, this Jain strategy of stress management is very similar to clinical process. Okay, let me show you example how. Suppose I'm going to ask you. Suppose if I have some infectious disease, and I'm suffering a lot, very intensely, have a lot of pain as well because of that. Uh, when I go to the doctor or to the hospital, what's the first thing they're going to do? The infectious disease, or or it can just spread within me. If they don't do something, at least it will spread to my entire body. It can be something like that, something like a poison or something. So what would they do? The first thing they would do is,
Examine you, get your symptoms, and then treat you with antibiotics.
yeah, at least if it's infectious, or if it can spread to other parts of body, you would at least try to contain it, right? Contain it into just that part of the body so it doesn't spread further. And because if it spreads further and gets worse, then it would be even more difficult. So maybe first logical step would be to contain it. Like in case of Ebola, isolate a person. Uh, Isolation, that can be a form of containment, right? The next thing is, suppose like I'm having so much pain or so much suffering, right? So maybe the next logical step would be what? Reducing the intensity of my pain, or giving me some relief. I mean, yeah, root cause needs to be addressed and will need to be addressed. But before that can happen, which is a longer term course, you will at least try to find me some pain medications or something.
Right?
So that is a reducing the intensity, right? Next thing, then once that happens, the diagnosis is established. After that, addressing the root cause. So finding the root cause and addressing the root cause will be a next target. So whatever that may take, either in form of medicines, whether in form of lifestyle changes, whether in form of dietary habits, nutritions, or anything else, that would be addressing the root cause. And finally, when that root cause is also being addressed, then go for complete eradication of symptoms and everything else. That whatever is left, after effects. Sometimes what we may see is after effects of that treatment, and taking care of the after effects. This is a complete. Then does this chart accurately describe the workflow of the treatment, kind of kind of
Mhm.
in general? I mean, yeah, I mean, the different diseases can take different forms. One or other steps may not apply. But in general, this is the kind of form that I've noticed. This is the flow that generally thought process that is followed. So Jainism takes a very similar strategy. In fact, it is exactly the same strategy. When a person is in uncontained extreme stress, you contain it to come about a form of containment. So you try to contain it because it's not so easy to attack root causes from directly from that state of uncontained extreme stress. It just simply doesn't happen. Second is, once you contain it, even before you can address a root cause, the intensity of that stress has to come down. And once the intensity of the stress comes down, then person becomes stable enough to address the root causes. And then the root cause gets addressed. So here, this is uncontained extreme stress is those 7 great addictions and 5 mahapap, like 5 most unethical and violent activities. They basically corrupt a person's lifestyle so badly that person is not even able to think through properly or make any type of reasonable progress in any aspect of his life. So that is uncontained extreme stress. So we try to contain it, make lifestyle conducive and stable for further upliftment. Then reducing the intensity is about learning what has happened to us, why the stress is happening, what is really the stress definition of stress, what are the different modes of stress, what are the causes of stress. So in doing so comes the understanding that okay, the stress is really not coming from outside, stress is really coming from within me. So the first realization that has to occur is that stress is self-inflicted. And when that happens, the fault or the dependence with external object goes away, at least on an intellectual level, and that will at least bring some will at least reduce some intensity of stress. It should. And when the person becomes that in the milder state of stress and continues to find the root causes of stress, which is the fundamental wrong belief about our own self, who we are, ekatva, mamatva, kartutva, bhoktrutva, oneness, oneness, minus doership, and suffering, belief of suffering. Those things, once that is being understood, and then we know the remedy to come out of it is about experiencing our own soul, true nature of the soul, which will eradicate those wrong beliefs. That will be then attaining a samyak darshan or right belief. That will be addressing a root cause. And then subsequently, there is a final stage, which is a complete eradication. From that point onward, that particular individual will completely start eradicating his kashayas in a progressively up, more increasing form. So his kashayas will go less and less, become less and less over the time, and he will attain higher and higher level of equanimity and higher level of peace, and ultimately he will end up in a complete eradication or state of no stress. So that's the general strategy of Jain strategy. Saurabh, is this right? Can you is this right? I mean, can you correct us if anything is wrong here, or you would like to add anything?
Mm, yeah, it is right strategy. Vitragavastha.
Yeah, final state would be that Vitragavastha. This is that's the flaw. So now we talked about uncontained extreme stress, right? And we don't need to talk about over and over again. Simple solution to come out of it is practice that just refrain from that 7 great addictions and 5 most violent, non-violent, violent and unethical activities. We've gone through that list. We have gone through the even minor modes of what is considered violence, what lifestyle practices are violent, what is unethical. You really don't need to go through that again. I think we have already gone through that. So just containing that, not doing that, will help us at least contain the stress. But there are other things in life that will also can also help us contain the stress. We can go through those lifestyle practices. Okay, what are those things that can help us contain the stress apart from what we just talked about? So this one we talked about identifying 5 mahapap and 7 great addictions in our own life. Asking for, if we have already committed it in the past, then we should sincerely analyze them, repent for them, and then ask for forgiveness and resolve to give them up completely, and develop. Or if we cannot give up instantaneously, develop a step-by-step plan to give it up. So that
Forgiveness.
huh?
Ask who for forgiveness?
Ask to basically ourselves, first of all, ourselves, right? Because
Yeah, that's
that
the
is
key.
first
Right.
thing we have hurt ourselves, and then also, if it's possible to whoever we have hurt, if it's possible to go and ask for forgiveness to that person, we should do that. I think.
Agreed. I think many people might interpret that as ask for forgiveness from a higher being, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. Correct. Yeah. No, that's not the case here.
Right.
I mean, obviously, yeah. I mean, it can be the case in a sense that when we believe someone as an idol who is completely pure, who has teached us that we should give up all the kashayas. Now, if we are considering them idle, then we may feel kind of a bit embarrassed that we have done such bad things. So in that sense, yes, we may ask for forgiveness from them as well, in the sense that, hey, we want to become like you. We've done wrong things. That's more like a realization, right? And asking forgiveness to ourselves. We are not asking for any favors from them that, hey, you are going to do something for us. You're going to forgive us. Means we are not necessarily even saying that this will even take away our karmas, right? Whatever karmas we may have bonded, it's going to give the results. We don't have to be afraid of them. Now we have to face the reality and just be bold about it. रोज जी आप कुछ कहना चाहेंगे? अगर ये लाइफ में ये 5 पाप और ये 7 व्यसन अपन ने अगर पास्ट में कर लिए हैं, अभी क्या करना चाहिए? क्या कर सकते हैं? अभी रियलाइज हुआ कि छोड़ना चाहिए. What can we do?
Forget your past and try to see what is before you. It means right now, if you're having the way of vitragta, so we must forget past parya, because it has passed. And if we think more about that, so definitely we will have a uneasiness in our mind and we'll have the pap bandha. So the best thing is that we must realize that in my past life, I did many wrong work, many wrong deeds, and you must promise to yourself that in future I would not repeat all these kind of things, and would take the shelter of Vitrakta and would take the shelter of soul. That is only the way and nothing else.
Yeah.
Yeah, really.
So next thing in life that can also help us contain stress is balance of priorities in life. So I'm not sure if we talked about it or not, but there are, like, when we talk about commonly observed causes of stress, we talked about many lifestyle practices. Let me go that one more time. I think that will help refresh some of the things. When we talk about the causes of stress, we first went through some of the commonly observed mistakes in life. So I'll go through the list once again, okay? First of them is irrational goals and unrealistic expectations in life. Second is improper prioritization in life. Third one is improper time management. Fourth one is irrational decision making. Then violent, unethical, and immoral behavior. Unwise spending habit. Unhealthy lifestyle. Evaluating ourselves from other subjective opinions. Means, if someone thinks that something is right without really considering whether it is right or wrong, just considering their opinion and taking upon ourselves that, hey, someone has done such a grand wedding, I also have to have a grand wedding. That type of mentality, evaluating ourselves. Or someone thinks that I'm not, I don't look that good, and just taking that opinion on ourselves and then feeling really bad or inferior about it. So evaluating from other subjective opinions, and finding faults in others. And speculative mindset, always keep thinking about what will happen to me, or living under constant speculative fear about the situations that may happen in life, that may not even be reality in life, but may just happen in future. Or constant speculative mindset about, hey, this person is like this, or this person is like this, just doubting people all the time, harboring jealousy and grudges, unresolved conflicts, negative thinking in life, following wrong idols and ideals, practicing wrong values in life, and inferiority and superiority. I need to add 2 more things to this list. One of them is a superiority or inferiority complex. This is commonly seen cause of stress, and also fear of failure. We are always afraid, hey, what if I fail? What if I fail? Those are some of the things that we commonly observe that brings us a lot of stress. Now, underlying are all these beliefs and the kashayas that are causing those tendencies in life, but these are ultimately what we see. So Jainism has basically in the Shravakachar, Jain Shravakachar, prescribed such a lifestyle that will help us eradicate all of these tendencies or commonly observed mistakes in life. One of them is, when we talk about irrational goals and unrealistic expectations, Jainism talks about balance of priorities in life. What type of priorities you should have, goals you should have in life. And the 4 types of goals are basically dharma, arth, kam, and moksha. And we should have sufficient balance in our life in terms of those goals and expectations. So Saurabh, can you talk about balance of priorities and goals in life from Jain point of view? Saurabh ji?
Yeah.
Can you
Hello.
talk about the balance of priorities and goals and goals from Jain perspective about dharma, kam, and moksha?
Yeah, as per Jainism, if you are Shravak, so you must not try to just you must not try to you must follow your responsibility. For example, it is your responsibility to support your family. It is your responsibility to earn money. It is your responsibility to support temple, society, etc. Most of the people, what they think that if you are studying Jainism, so studying Jainism, it means you must be in that stage in which there's no need to earn money, there is no need to support family. A person who is studying Jainism has no right to rag. But do you know, Jainism only says that if you are knowing yourself, if you are knowing the tattva provided by Jinendra Dev, that can that can provide you the realization of your soul, that can provide you how you can get salvation, that can provide you the power of understanding in right way. So if you are in domestic life, so it must not be that you are escaping from your common duties. In Grihasthavastha, as per Ratnagana Shrapkachar, written by Acharya Samantbhad says that a Shravak who is not ready to fulfill the duties of his family, he's not just a patra of Samyak Darshan. It means he's not appropriate person to get Samyak Darshan. If you are if you are just escaping to earn money, if you are escaping just to support your family, it means you are not right person to get Samyak Darshan.
So, Saurabh, but can you at least describe four types of priorities or goals that are outlined for Shravak, Dharma, Arth, Kam, Moksha? What is Dharma? What is Arth? What is Kam? And what is Moksha?
1 minute. I have one book in which the detailed dharma, Arth, Kam, Moksha is there. 1 minute.
Does this make sense, Nishit or Ketan? Does this make sense? Overall thinking and the thought process that Jainism has. Jainism seeks to correct the lifestyle first in order to bring the lifestyle conducive to the further enhancement in terms of stress management. These practices and these type of basic lifestyle practices and thought processes will basically establish a solid foundation for that person to then progress further. That's why they are first piece of strategy, you know.
Makes sense.
I got that.
सौरभ जी काम करते हैं अभी अगर टाइम होने आया है तो अभी हम ऐसा करते हैं लेट्स ये टॉपिक से नेक्स्ट टाइम कंटिन्यू करते हैं ऐसा करते हैं
No issue.
हाँ
Meanwhile I will search from book.
हाँ नो प्रॉब्लम सर यार नेक्स्ट टाइम यही टॉपिक से कंटिन्यू करेंगे वी विल लाइक कंटिन्यू अबाउट बैलेंस ऑफ प्रायोरिटीज एंड गोल्स इन लाइफ फ्रॉम जैन पर्सपेक्टिव so and you know as you can see this is quite an extensive literature about stress management in Jainism, right? It talks about the lifestyle changes, it talks about the containment strategies, it talks about thought processes, and it talks about the reduction of intensity, then it talks about addressing the root cause, and then talking about the final eradication of complete eradication of stress. Each of this stage is just as extensive, but we are just going to cover pretty much the overview of it. It just gives you the idea that how extensive and how rational Jainism is. Okay, so I think we are almost at the time, so we will stop here and we will continue from next time.
Okay.